like for me, skating's just my life.
Yeah.
But the fact that I've been doing it for 30 years means I know stuff. Which I didn't realize is of value. You know what I mean?
It's just crazy what's valuable.
Yeah, just like an accountant, just like anybody else. Like the information, your life experiences, all that stuff is valuable if you're put in the right setting.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to The Empire, where we engage with everyone from pastors to actors, rappers to trappers, and everybody in between. My name is Antonio Lee Miles, and yes, we have another great, amazing guest. But before we get into it, y'all should know the deal. I shouldn't even say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, share, support if you want. And if you want to support, we have PayPal, which is in the description. We also have CashApp, which is $THEE Empire Podcast, and all that good jazz. So, instead of me rambling more and more, which I could, because once upon a time there was a lady and a lad and a lady. Just joking. Let's get right into our amazing guest, right? He is the founder of an amazing shop, which I'll let him talk to you about it more. It's called Night Skate. Oh, I think I ruined it. No, I was joking. George Gonzalez, welcome to the Empire,
Thanks,
George.
Man. Thank you.
And how's your day been, George?
So far, so good. Just getting started, man. Just getting started. So had a celebration last night. It was my 3-year anniversary of the shop.
Yeah.
So
congrats.
Part of the poofy eyes.
Ah, okay. Congrats.
Thank you.
Congrats. Not a little puffy before the poofy?
Didn't have time, man.
Oh, man. Not even on the way?
Not even, man.
Damn it. Next time on the way out, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. On the way out.
So how was the celebration?
It was good. We so every Tuesday there's which was actually kind of the genesis of all of the stuff I'm doing. There's a group that's been meeting about 14 years now in downtown LA. So every Tuesday I drive out to LA. We skate, downtown LA and hang out. And so it just happened to coincide with not only several people's birthdays, but also with the anniversary of the shop. So it was just a good night overall.
So it was just like great time.
Yeah, just a good time. Yeah, not too party hardy, but not a perfect amount of party hardy.
Got you. Just that good amount.
Just right.
Not that amount where you're like, how the fuck did I end up
exactly.
How did I end up in a homeless shelter with a Okay, cool. So it was a completely unexpected type of situation that kind of like panned out, right?
Yeah, exactly. Just a good time on accident. So
man. So great, man. And so basically your day's starting with us today.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. After this I'll go right down the street on East Street back to the shop and get that going. I got a big delivery waiting for me there right now. So.
Okay, cool. Well, George, for the people who don't know who you are and what you do, can you please tell all of us who you are and what you do?
Yeah, my name is Jorge Gonzalez. Just go by George. Make it easy for everyone. And what I do, I own a skate shop in downtown San Bernardino. It's called Night Skate with a K. It all started because I would organize these night skates without a K, right? So the Night Skate is basically an homage to the fact that I was so heavily involved with organizing these group skates in the evening. I figured since I was already known for night skating, might as well name the shop Night Skate, right? Mm-hmm. So, but getting back to my point about the night skates being the genesis of the shop, right before COVID, so this was January of 2020, I actually stopped in Viva La Boba because I wanted to recreate what we've been doing in downtown LA. I have a huge network of friends out here in the IE. Most of my friends and family are out here in the IE, and they were seeing what I was doing in Los Angeles. And, for a bunch of reasons, getting to downtown from out here is hard on a Tuesday, right? Or leaving LA at 10 o'clock is hard on a Tuesday. So everybody's like, hey, we should do something out here. I ended up moving back out here. I was living in Hollywood at the time. Moved to Upland and was like, I want to start something out here. So a few months after I moved to Upland, started all the planning. Like I said, I walked into Viva and I was like, this is literally the perfect spot to meet up, right? Because it was the only place that had Wi-Fi in San Bernardino at the time. So it was the only place
downtown.
So I could actually go set up, and so I went in, I was like, cool, this is the perfect spot to meet up. And so started meeting up there. I actually, so I do payroll for small businesses as well. I don't actively try to get customers anymore because of the shop, but at that time I was 100% focused on growing my payroll business.
Okay.
So I had paid off all my credit cards. My car was paid. Like literally had no bills because I'm like, you know what? I want to focus on this business, right? The payroll. COVID hit, obviously, ruined everything for everybody and delayed the start of the skate you know, because that was January, February, and then everything shuts down. So in May, I'm like, you know what? Let me go ahead and start this group skate. I was going to start anyway. It's a perfect COVID-friendly activity. You know what I mean? You could social distance, mask up, still be in a group, all that stuff.
You're
right?
outside.
You're outside, all that. So just kind of like perfectly fit all the requirements for COVID. Still got shit from people as it is, you know, but started doing that a few months into that. You know, that started in May. By July, David, you know, the owner of one of the owners of Viva, and you know, co-owner, I think, of a lot of the property with his dad around the area, he approached me and said, "Hey, do you want to open a pop-up skate shop?" And I was like, "You can't do a pop-up skate shop. This is not how it works." You know?
Yeah.
But
can you explain why it wouldn't work?
it's just like a big part of my success is the fact that I'm now known as like a guy who, you know, because of the years that I put in, like somebody you can go to get stuff.
Okay.
So I think if you're just like, oh, I got a pop up, you're not going to really be able to move a lot of product. Like especially it's going to be a short time frame. You probably won't get known enough to be able to move a significant amount of product. You know,
As opposed to having like a brick and mortar.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, you know, what was funny was that my plan of action, like I've always thought I was going to open up an inline skate shop. Like
Okay.
it was what I figured is I would have a real business, like, you know, the payroll. I'd build that client list up, be able to afford at some point to put money into a skate shop. In my mind, I'm like, there's no way it's going to make money, right? Because the pre-COVID, it was gaining some traction, but it wasn't. There was nothing in my mind. I was like, this is going to be an actual profitable business. You know, I was like, corporate sales has been my whole life, so I'm like, I know my skill set. And just with the fact that I'm like I can grind my butt off, that I can break even or barely lose money to the point where like a few $100, like whatever, like spend it on something else, you know. It'd be a labor of love, you know. And then when David approached me with the opportunity, it just like clicked in my head. I just did like the mental math really quick, and just saw how like COVID changed things. Like so many people were doing just every single kind of outdoor activity.
Yeah, they just wanted to get out.
Yeah, and rollerblading was included amongst those as well. So a lot of ice skaters as well, their facilities shut down. So a lot of them went on blades. Hockey people, same thing. If you were an indoor player, now you're out on the street with it. So a lot of cool things like that started happening. And I was like, you know what? I was like, why not? Like I'm already set up to own a business. I wasn't thinking this business, but and I was driving Lyft at the time too. So that, you know, like I always tell people, I'm not afraid to say that my success came literally just from working my ass off. Like I would shut the shop down and I would still drive 60 hours a week on Lyft. So I was working the shop 7 days a week, driving 60 hours a week. Did that for like a long time, you know, and it just started working. Like it was kind of crazy to see it work. I literally moved, within 6 months, I moved from this small, it's called the Little Gallery. If people from San Bernardino, they probably are aware. So I was working out of the Little Gallery right there in the breezeway.
Gotcha. That's the spot that Andrew.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Cool. Shout out to you, Andrew.
Yeah. So they'd shut down operations for COVID and sublet the space to me while they weren't in there. And I was like, cool. So for the first 6 months, I operated out of there and then grew really quick. You know, I was blown away by the success, you know, almost immediately. The free money for everybody didn't, you know, definitely helped.
Yeah, the support helps a lot.
Yeah. And
support helps a lot.
I also did get a grant, you know, so I will shout out like the federal funding and stuff. I got a grant early on from the COVID funds.
Okay.
Actually, from driving Lyft, it wasn't even related to the business, but obviously all the money went into my business.
Yeah.
And so, I just kept reinvesting every single dollar, you know, still not profit taking, just reinvesting everything, you know, and it's grown. So within 6 months, I moved from that location to a location right around the corner. That's like 1,700 square feet. And that's where I'm at right now. Literally just celebrate 3 years. I was going to say coming up on 3 years, like celebrate 3 years.
Celebration.
So
it's a celebration, Rachel.
Exactly. So I have something planned at Secombe Lake, so I'm going to get all the details of that together. So we'll have an official celebration next month.
Okay. Maybe we'll hear about it later.
Yeah, exactly. I'll let you know all the details. But Secombe Lake, sometime in the beginning of September, if you guys want the information, just check the Instagrams. You know, either IE Night Skate or Night Skate SB with a K. And all the information will be on there soon.
Dope. Do you think, and we're definitely going to dive a little bit into it. Do you think your background in like corporate business, you were saying, and payroll, help keep your mindset to be like, okay, I'm not going to spend this money. I'm just going to keep reinvesting it back into the business. Do you think that experience helped keep that mindset?
Yeah. So the background as well. So I did, like I said, I did sales my whole life. The last 3 to 4 years of corporate sales I did was a company called ADP. So it's a really well-known payroll HR company. So yeah, I got background just on all the, the back end logistic kind of stuff that most people don't think about. That was really what ADP focuses on. So I had a lot of insight there. Doesn't really apply to my business because I don't have employees, but I just got to see how, a lot of background stuff. The other benefit of working with ADP was, I specialize in small business services. So I was talking to people like me now all the time. I had to meet people weekly, and it was like it's a kind of sales, like it's not like car sales, it's not like you got to get it there hitting like real quick, like, like it's, I call it like real sales in the sense that like you're given a product, this is what it does, and they're like, this is how much you're expected to sell. Good luck, right? Go find it, right? So there's no leads, no nothing. It's just, but we know who our target is, and it's just going out there and not forcing them, but just presenting them with the opportunity, showing them the product, and then if they say yes, great. If not, no. You know what I mean? And so I took a lot of that into this, where I'm like, I know how to get in front of the right people. I know who my demographic is. I know who they aren't. You know what I mean? So let me do that. I've always been a numbers guy. So I was a math major fresh out of high school. I went to UC Irvine. I had a scholarship there.
Nice.
Didn't use it. I bounced after 2 quarters, so it's not, but I was a 4.0 student out of high school, all that stuff, you know what I mean? It doesn't really matter now, but like definitely feel like it's one of those things where like as it all started happening, I was like, this is literally what my life has been leading up to. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I don't know, I just felt like I think I was uniquely prepared for the opportunity because of the skill set that I originally thought I was going to be an accountant. So I have like an associate's in accounting now. As I was going to transfer like to college to go get my bachelor's, I got offered a sales job. And using my accounting skills, I was like, this is a good job. I was like, this is a good, well-paying job. The upper potential was dope. I was like, there was people that I was working with that were making 100K. In my mind, I'm like, that's the goal, right? Yeah, facts. So I'm like, cool, so that was how I got into sales. It's definitely a learned skill for me. It's not like I wasn't a natural. Maybe I could talk well, but I wasn't like a natural, like good at it. I didn't come out killing it. I just got good because I put the time in and, really, really focused on.
What's a tip you can give us about like how to be a good salesperson? What's a good tip?
You know what? I'll tell you, this is some of the best advice, and this is real, so I was at a strip club once, right?
Okay. Best place. Those people know how to sell.
Then that's what I'm saying. So I would go and like I would just talk to him, and this one girl, like she's beautiful, beautiful woman, obviously. And she was like, I was like, how do you deal with like all this, like if somebody just like, she was like, look, it's like sometimes she's like beautiful Latina, she was like, sometimes a guy just wants, a white girl with, small boobs and whatever, blah, blah, she's like, I'm not that. And I was like, damn. And she was just like, whatever, And I think that is, I've taken that attitude, like just something about the whole experience for me. I was like, this person truly doesn't care about anything that isn't going to make them money. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so I kind of take that attitude where it's like, I think everybody could take that where it's like, don't worry about the no's. They're going to happen. You know what I mean? Just like failing with everything. You're going to fail. And, it's the type of skating that I do all the time, what I used to do, aggressive skating. The name of the game isn't doing the trick. It's falling 100 times until you get the trick. And so that's the same thing with sales, where you just have to be comfortable being told no. And then don't take it personal. Don't let it get you down. Just focus on your goal. Do the calculations backward. Okay, if it takes me this, if I get told no 100 times out of 101, that means I have to go to 404 people. Yeah. To get my 4 sales or whatever, right? Yeah. So then just plug away. Just forget it. Just process.
I love it.
And I think that's it. Just you build processes to get to the goals that you want to get. Bang.
What I mean? Getting business advice from strip clubs. That's what we talk about.
It's real.
That's what we talking about.
They're making money.
Right. She's right. And she knows her brand. Yeah. That's basically what it is.
Exactly.
I think we talked about it a little bit, George, but can you give us a brief summary of your origin story? And what that means is like where you grew up, how you grew up, basically to where we are today.
All right.
Can you give us like
story. Yeah. So I was born right here at San Bernardino County Hospital, which doesn't exist anymore. My mom didn't know she had good insurance, so she took me to the worst hospital in San Bernardino.
She didn't know?
She didn't know. She had Kaiser. She didn't know.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was born there. My sister was born at Kaiser a year later. And
What year?
I'm 83. My sister's 84.
Okay.
We're Irish twins, so just under a year separate. You know, she's on the January 19th. I'm on the 28th.
Okay.
And so born out here, raised in like the IE. I think back then, you know, San Bernardino, Fontana, Rialto, Colton was all really one city. Like they were separate, you know, gang stuff, whatever. But like it was really the same city. You were existing in all of them, I think, if you were living out here for the most part. Mm-hmm. So I lived in Fontana, you know, Fontana probably till I was like 9. And then Rialto, San Bernardino border, right there off of Mill.
Okay.
Rancho and Mill, kind of. So that's where I started rollerblading, by the way. There's a gated community called Mountain View Spring Estates right there. It's catty corner to the liquor store on Rancho and Mill. Mm-hmm. I think Rancho and Rialto, Rancho and Mill. Rancho, one of those. Rancho and Rialto, actually. And so, I was there till, that's where I started all my skating and everything. Was there till I was like 14, then moved to North Rialto. You know, graduated Eisenhower 2001. Mm-hmm. Then I took off. I lived in LA. Once I got my corporate job, that was around 23, 21. No, it was 21, 22 when I got like my first corporate job and ended up moving all the way to Ventura County for a while for that job. You know, while I just got situated with everything. Ended up buying a house a few years later in Rialto, and I would commute all the way out. It was a horrible experience, but but I got an amazing deal on a house. I don't have it anymore, unfortunately, but it is what it is. Don't get married, guys. Don't get married.
Oh shit!
Don't get married. But there's one thing: don't get. Hey,
go ahead, tell them.
If love doesn't mean getting paperwork involved. That's all I gotta say. Don't get the state involved.
Hey, there we go. If you really love me, no state involved.
Yeah, don't get the state involved. How can I just love you anyway?
That part. We can have the ceremony. You know.
I'm not bitter.
No. Hey, you know, you're not the only man out here who has felt the wrath, as they say.
Exactly. So, you know, bought a house, commuted for a while, ended up moving into LA after a while, rented out the house and all that, and then. Again, getting back to the whole baby mama thing, just the marriage didn't work out. We were married for 10 years. And we were living in Woodland Hills at the time. And so I was like, you know what, I got to get back into the IE. And so I went to Hollywood and then back into the IE and came back out here. And that was, you know, the genesis of everything. That was the beginning of the rest of this, you know. Like, once I got back out here, I was like, I just want to focus on, you know, I don't know why, but there was something about the downtown area where I was like, you know, like it needs something. You know what I mean? Like
downtown San Bernardino.
Yeah, downtown San Bernardino. And, you know, we've been meeting in LA at that point, you know, for a good amount of time, getting close to 10 years at that point. And we literally meet basically in Skid Row. So, you know, everybody's like, oh, are you sure you want to meet in downtown San Bernardino? What's up? I'm like, I skate in Skid Row normally. Like, you know, you can't, it's not worse.
Yeah, but they're like, yeah, Skid Row's fine.
Yeah.
But San Bernardino?
But downtown San Bernardino?
Yeah, are you sure?
Are you sure?
Are you sure?
And so, you know, it took a lot of lobbying and stuff to get, and I still think there's people that don't come to the night skate in San Bernardino because it's San Bernardino. Mm-hmm. Like when we have them in Riverside or Redlands and stuff, there's a lot of people that are like, oh, finally one I can come to, you know? And totally understandable. I totally get it, you know? But
San Bernardino's got a stigma, man.
Yeah, and I don't blame it. You know, I get it. I totally get it, you know? But yeah, I just came back and I was like, you know what, it's going to take idiots like me doing stuff there for no good reason, right? Like, I always say it, and I always say, like, I really don't gain anything from the location of my unit. I don't want to say I don't gain anything from being in San Bernardino, because there's definitely, like, the people here, like, that they see you're actually doing something, like, people support, man. It's like they want to see somebody win, you know what I mean? So I don't want to say that being in San Bernardino doesn't have its benefits, but being at my specific location in San Bernardino, you know, I remember one time my landlord tried to bill it as, he was like, you have a street facing, you know, storefront on a major intersection. I was like, don't fucking say that, dog. Don't say that. I got glass windows on East Street in San Bernardino with stuff to steal out of them. Like, it's not a benefit, you know?
Yeah.
I got a bunch of stealable stuff, and all that protects it is a glass. So, But
He was trying to play it off something different.
and I get it, you know.
Yeah.
I'm in sales. I get it.
That's what I'm saying. He's trying to sell to you. He's trying to sell to you, bro.
You got 4 faces of major intersection. Shut the hell.
Yeah. It smells like piss outside.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
But you know, and also like the unit, right? So, like I said, it's gonna take a bunch of people like me doing what I'm doing for no good reason, right? Doing the same thing Viva's doing the same thing that Diverse Soul's doing right next door to me.
Yeah.
You know, all these
little
businesses.
gallery.
Yeah, exactly. All these businesses could exist anywhere just because they're the type of business that could exist anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And we're choosing to be in downtown San Bernardino. And I think everybody's doing it for the same reason, which is they want to be a small part of why it gets better. You know?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm just, I fight battles all the time, thinking about moving out and going somewhere else or whatever. But then I'm like, you know what? Like, no, it's gonna, like, if I leave, then this unit's empty again, and it is what it is, and like, So my lease is coming up, and I didn't think I was gonna stay, but I've come up with a few ideas of how I can actually potentially stay and make it worth it. So I'm, plan on being here as long as I can, as long as it makes business sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I have to balance the fact that I want to do these more altruistic things. I do want to be part of the growth here. I do want to be part of what brings it back. But I have been broken into 7 times, right? My shop has been repeatedly broken into. My car, consistently dealing with, homeless. I will say this though, recently, the city, whoever's in charge, they're doing good work downtown. It's improved majorly. It's not perfect. It still has a long way to go, but it's not a playground for the mentally ill. It's not a dumping ground for the mentally ill and for the ill-advantaged anymore. I feel like people just send them on the train and be like, get off, and that was it. So,
oh wow.
Like the Food for Less parking lot's cleared up. It's like you don't see you're gonna see a homeless person because it is what it is. But it seems like they aren't even just kicking them out, but they're actually doing the good work and getting to people, pointing them to resources. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there are some bad actors. I don't think every homeless person is bad, but just like any other community, you have bad actors, and it seems like they're doing a good job of isolating those people. And they're not like scapegoating everybody. You know what I mean?
Facts, yeah.
So
it's interesting that you said that because Liddy Gutfield, shout out to you, Lee. She's the director of Parks and Rec. She was saying when she first got there, it was like there'd be like a train of homeless people just like walking down, just like a row of homeless people just walking down the street. And so it's good to hear you say that. You can see the improvement of everything. I
see it because I exist in it all the time. I've had homeless guys die in front of my car because they were obviously in hospice mode at that point, just living on the street because they have nowhere else to go. And went to go my car to go do a delivery. I come back, the cop in the corner is right in front of where I was parked. Apparently, the guy I thought was asleep had passed while I, from between the night before, because I'd seen him every day, so like he was alive the night before, and I just assumed he was sleeping because he would sleep all the time, and he was actually deceased at that point. So
yeah,
but.
Crazy.
It's just tough to see, then they picked him up, took his body, and it was like it never happened.
Yeah,
like it's
keep on moving.
Yeah, keep on. It's like crazy. So
the world doesn't stop moving.
It's real. It's like San Bernardino. Like I don't think a lot of people I don't think could handle just like not even because of the violence, but just because of how real reality is in downtown San Bernardino. Like they don't try to paint it different. Like life. It just happens there. It's crazy.
And thanks to people like you, it is getting better and bringing more hope to the city because people want to come out and do things, right? They just need places to go to do things and things to happen. So I want to thank you for being one of those places and spaces. There's 2 things that I wanted to ask, and so hopefully I can remember both of them. The first thing is when you're doing corporate sales, did you have all the tats that you have today?
No. So the tattoos, so like I said, my resume is fucking amazing. Right? Anytime, at any point, and I'm just being humble.
That's humbly speaking.
So, yeah, humbly speaking, my resume is dope. So I could have any entry-level sales job at any major corporation pretty easily,
Nice.
And
you just walk in and be like, hey, you got the job?
Like, oh, perfect. You got all these people. Like, it's not hard to get a sales job. It's not easy. It's not hard, but I'm qualified. I'm sure I can get it. Okay. And so, I was like, I don't want that plan B. Like if I don't eliminate it as a plan B, it's gonna eat my head. And when it gets hard, I'm gonna want to fucking go submit I'm gonna go on Indeed or some shit. You know what I mean? And I was like, just eliminate it or create a situation where if I do that, the job has to be pretty fucking laid back to have me on board, right? So I was like, I'm just gonna get blasted. I was like, I've always wanted, I always had tattoos within the corporate thing. So a lot of this stuff,
half sleeve type of thing.
Yeah, all half sleeve stuff, all leg stuff and chest stuff was already there. But no, nothing on the neck or on the head or anything. And I was just like, you know what, like. I'm just gonna do it. Like I don't care. Like what do I have to lose? Combine that with all the emotions of going through, divorce and all that. I was like, I don't care anymore.
I don't give a shit.
I don't care, man. I just want to see my kids.
That part. Damn, keeping the kids away. Damn.
Damn it, Elliot. Let me see my kids.
That part. Come on, man. There's a saying by Coach Greg Adams. Shout out to you, Coach Greg Adams. He says the wife hates the father more than she loves the kids.
100%. That's exactly where we're at right now. I don't know what her narrative is, but I'm just I'm not confrontational. I'm just doing everything through the courts. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
It's risk, bro. It is what it is.
That part. Let's send blessings of that to you, man. That the kids will understand, and hopefully she'll have understanding. But hopefully the kids will have some understanding, or you'll get your chance to speak your truth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%. So.
But going back to being a killer at Killer Resume and the tattoos, right?
Yeah.
So you just wanted to get blasted, and so you did it?
Just so I just did it. I was living in Hollywood at the time and had a buddy from Italy who's a tattoo artist, and I was like, you know what? Like I've been wanting to get something on my neck, so it started with my neck. Then I expanded on that, and just a few weeks ago, I got my head started. So in a week or less, I'll probably get most of this all taken care of.
You can do the whole head?
Yeah, the whole thing, yeah.
Oh, nice.
So,
and that way you don't have to end up, when something bad happens, looking for a...
Yeah, exactly. No corporate job, no regular job.
I think a rapper did the same thing. I'm pretty sure it was a rapper. I think he said, you know what, in order to make sure I'm going to go full force, I'm just going to tattoo my face.
Yeah.
Because can't get a corporate job. And so...
Exactly.
The other thing that I wanted to, I can't remember the names, but the other thing I was kind of curious is that you said you're debating between staying in San Bernardino and moving out, right? But you decided to stay, right? So what was the thing that made you say, you know what, I'm going to stay?
That was more logistical stuff on the back end.
Okay.
So I still have to approach my landlord with the idea that I have about staying, like the terms that I'd be happy with staying. Because at one point I told him, even if you gave me the unit for free, I think I could find a unit that costs more, but there'd be a benefit for being there, right? Somebody would walk in and be like, hey, skates for the family, right? You know what I mean? Or like being in a mall, you know what I mean? Like being somewhere where there's foot traffic, where I have the opportunity to make money by the fact that I'm just there, you know? Because right now I make money just because I'm specialized and because people need to go to my shop if they want to try on very specific things, versus if I say I'm 45 minutes closer to LA, a lot of my business comes from LA. People drive 3 hours, I have a guy who comes from Arizona, San Diego, all over SoCal. People drive, because again, I'm so specialized. If you're an inline skater and you want to see a bunch of things in one spot, I'm the place to go. You know what I mean?
Dope.
And so that's why I exist right now. Versus if I was 45 minutes closer to LA, right? I was trying to isolate somewhere around the 10 and the 605, or somewhere around there, because I'd be closer to Long Beach, which is a city that's really associated with skating. The west side of LA is literally what everybody thinks of when they think of skating. Inline skating, all that stuff, right?
Like closer to the beach type of thing.
Exactly. So,
gotcha.
So being closer to all that definitely would not hurt my business. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people I think that just choose to order online or somewhere else, or delay making the trip to the shop because it is so far, especially during the day. Like during the weekdays, it's a pain in the butt with all the traffic.
Yeah.
So that was the main reason why I wanted to move. I feel like I always have to balance between being romantic about what I'm doing and wanting to make a change, but also acknowledging that I have to make business decisions. I can't
those numbers.
Yeah, I can't, run myself into the ground because I wanted to, it's like, oh, I would have, if I didn't care about San Bernardino, I'd have a successful business. It's like, no, if I care about San Bernardino, the quickest way for me to be able to do things that have a huge impact are to have a business that has good cash flow, is profitable, right? Something that can exist and isn't being slapped together, isn't on life support. You know what I mean? So that's what I always say is I think like I have to balance between all the things that I want to do and the things that I need to do to have a successful business, right?
Yeah, which makes sense.
You know, and if I have a business that's profitable, that, you know, because ideally what I would like to do is buy a building, and I feel like I'm on the path to do that. I feel like I'm super close.
Okay.
Because if I buy a building, it eliminates so many things that are variables, right? Like the rent exploding all of a sudden.
Okay.
Things like that. You know what I mean? Like I would, and I can do whatever to the building, and I know that I wouldn't feel weird. Like right now, I hate putting money into my unit because I'm literally just helping my landlord fix up a unit. You know what I mean? And it's getting on my nerves, but I would love to own my spot so that when I'm putting in stuff, I'm fixing up my spot.
Gotcha. It's like owning your own house type of situation.
Exactly, 100%, right? And I see this like in a lot of these long-term businesses that exist. They exist strictly just because they own their property and they don't have to worry about paying that big-ass nut every single month that continually increases, right? So that's what I would do. I would like to get ahead of that, buy something while property's still low out here, and make it mine. And you know what I mean?
Yeah. So, what's the likelihood of that?
I think it's good. I think, like I said, my books are pretty, like everything's well in order right now. I finally turned that corner from where I'm just some dude fucking slanging stuff out of this freaking shop to where I have my taxes paid. You know, I'm caught up on licenses. I did all this, all this back end stuff that's super boring, but it's the hardest part, you know?
Yeah. It's like the most needed part type of thing.
Exactly. And the good thing about taking care of all that back end stuff, and so I'll say this to a lot of people who, a lot of barbers, tattoo artists and stuff like that. Like, I get it. You don't want to pay taxes. You're reporting things super minimal. Anybody running a business, I get it. You try to avoid taxes. But when you are honest, and if you do have a good business, so if you are a business that's making significant money, it's in your best interest to do everything legit because it opens the floodgates for, like banks are hitting me. I went to Chase Bank and asked them for a line of credit. 20 minutes, you're approved.
No, because they can see the proof.
And the proof is there. They're like, okay, good. Like we see, they just asked me stuff, and they didn't double check it out. They were just like, hey, it all makes sense. Cool, here you go. So things like I got a huge grant because it did require me. That's what required me to get all my books in order. There was a grant, and I think there might be a second round coming. So if anybody's hearing this and they're interested, I know they didn't give away all the money. There's that one senator. He was the one that brought it up. Or not a senator, assembly or council member.
Is it Baca?
No. The younger guy. The one that's always out and about. I think on the north side a lot. There's a younger guy.
We'll get him. We'll get his name right. We'll get it.
Talk to that guy. He's really well known. He was the one that put me on to the fact that there's still additional funding. So, and I got $25,000 out of it. There was $10,000, $25,000 or $35,000. I got $25,000, but it did require me to get my taxes in order, get my business licenses in order, all that stuff, all that back end stuff that you kind of forget about, But like I said, not only did I get the grant, but in addition to that, I have banks and stuff knocking at my door trying to give me more money, which is a good situation to be in.
It's a great situation.
Yeah. So
congrats, George.
Yeah, thanks, man. It's been a road. It's been a road,
Hey. But what were you saying? Got a dope ass resume?
Yeah.
Got a dope ass resume. So George, how'd you come up with the name Nightskate?
Like I said, I was organizing these night skates, particularly the one in LA. So that one was getting really popular. And so I just wanted to start recreating it. And then, like I said, I was already known for night skate. Like, oh, you're the night skate guy, right? Like, you all the night skates? I'm like, yeah.
Okay.
And then I was like thinking about names for the shop. I'm like, what should I name it? And then, like, what's funny is I'd already opened the shop. Like, I'd already signed the lease and everything. I didn't have a name picked out. So I was like, shit, like, what do I do? And I was like, and I was like, you know what? Nightskate.
Got you.
With a K.
Boom. Yeah, boom.
With a K. And now everybody's confused. They're like, Nightskate. Wait, so it's Nightskate? I'm like, no. Nightskate is a shop, i.e. Nightskate with no K. That's the group skate. And everybody's like, oh. I'm like, well, I don't think it's that hard. But.
It's like, I was wondering if you like European history and skating and nah, none of that shit at all.
No, I did also like just happy accident. I was like, Knight, and I was like, oh, you know what? Knights use swords and stuff. And the car sells bladers. So I'm like the chances to use like blades and swords and stuff like in merchandise, I'm like, they're gonna present themselves,
Definitely.
So I was like, it makes sense.
Gotcha. And you said you guys mostly deal with inland skates, right?
Inline skates, yeah.
Which
Inline
is basically
skates.
like rollerblades.
Exactly.
For example, I remember, and I kind of want to address this with you. I remember back in the day, people used to take out like the 2 middle wheels and then like use it for like grinding.
Exactly.
And I believe you said that you used to do like hardcore skating.
Yeah, so that we call it aggressive skating. That's what that brand of skating is.
Okay.
Aggressive skating. And that's the type of skating that I specialized in. So, I skate rails, all that stuff,
Okay.
But yeah, that's still, I would consider that more of a niche. Like, it's my passion, right?
Mm-hmm.
But also, as a guy who owns a shop, like, I see the barriers to entry, like, to be able to just be on skates and not like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I always tell my friends, I'm like, if I catered 100% to the brand of skating I like, say there's 100 people, right? If you, out of those 100 people, just chip away the people that can actually do physical activity, you probably have 75.
Okay, boom.
Right?
Yeah.
Already. And it's like, okay, out of those 75 people, like, who wants to rollerblade? Or maybe you're like 20, right?
Okay.
Now out of them, like, who can rollerblade, right? And you get down. And
Two
then you're
different things, right?
Yeah.
Who wants to and who can.
Yeah, and then, okay, out of people who actually can, like, who wants to jump on rails and do all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then again, okay, out of people who want to jump on rails and stuff, who can, right? And then you're like slowly like decreasing your market, but just like almost nothing,
Okay.
And then, so that's what I quickly realized was like most people see all the cool tricks and they're not like, I want to do that. They're like, that's cool. I could never do that. And that's it. You know what I mean? And then they go on with their life.
Yeah.
And so I want to be a resource for aggressive skaters. So I have everything there, but my big push is like the urban type of night skating, just cruising around, distance skating, because those are where, regular people can do it. You know what I mean? A lot of people can do that. A lot more people can do that. And getting back to making business decisions, I got to make sure that I'm focused on the things that I know will lead to continued growth. And I love that type of skating too. I feel, I'm comfortable saying that I have a lot to do with its popularity. I can never take credit for each individual going out to those skates and all that. Like that's everybody's individual efforts.
Yeah.
But as far, I made a lot of videos. I really, really was focused on putting it in front of as many people as I could that I thought would be interested in possibly going out there and doing it. You know what I mean?
Like the hardcore skating.
No, just cruising kind
Cruising,
of skating.
okay,
Yeah,
cruising.
Yeah,
Okay.
just the cruising kind of stuff. Like there was nobody really doing that. There was nobody putting out content and videos of groups of people skating in downtown or major urban areas, right?
Yeah.
Like there was a few like larger skates that were meeting up, but I think their focus was on safety, and a lot of them were older, so there wasn't a lot of media coming out of any of them.
Like in their 60s or something?
Yeah. Well, even the girl that organizes the Tuesday skate, right? So the backstory to that was I was in my early 30s at that point. I'm 40 now. I was in my early 30s, and I was like, you know what? Jumping off of shit to get my jollies is like not sustainable. Like I can't just be like, oh, what are you gonna do for fun? I'm gonna grind a 40 stair rail,
It's like
repeatedly.
That part.
Yeah,
my knees.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I'm at right now. And so I was like, you know what? I love rollerblading. I genuinely just love skating, And so I started this group where on Meetup.com when I still have it, where I was like, look, we're just gonna rollerblade and then go for a few beers at night. And hit up all my friends, and mind you, every single one of my friends is a rollerblader. I don't like if didn't work with me or skate, like there was no reason for me to hang out with you, right?
Yeah.
So all of my friends are rollerbladers. Went to them all, was like, hey, I want to do this thing. They were like, what do you mean? Like, are we gonna like actually skate? And I'm like, no, we're just gonna cruise around. He's like, oh, like they literally didn't get it. They're like, we're not gonna do any grinding. I'm like, no, literally just skate around.
Yeah, we're just going to cruise.
Yeah, and they're like, what if someone sees us? Because
hilarious. Yeah,
it's funny because like it's hard to explain to people that aren't in skating, but like if you're my age, like rollerblading went through what I call the blade hate era, where like not only was it not cool, it was the opposite of cool, right? Like most of my life skating, the moment that I left my house on my skates, somebody was yelling out their car, fag, fruit booter, blah blah blah. Like it was my entire life. My entire life was being made fun of for skating. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so with that as the frame of reference, like it's the same thing with all my friends. They all, I think more of them were self-conscious about it. Some were more self-conscious than others about it. I generally didn't care. I feel like it gave me a real thick skin.
Yeah.
Really made me happy to just like do something and not care what anybody, like it's hard to explain to people. I tell some of my gay friends all the time. I'm like, I've been probably slandered like homophobically way more than you have in my lifetime.
Yeah.
Like just because it was like there was a certain point where it was not okay to do that to people.
Yeah.
But for rollerbladers, it was like still funny after that. Like in regular people's, or in mainly skateboarders' eyes, like there was a running joke. Still is a joke. You'll probably hear it, which is like, what's the hardest part of rollerblading? And the punchline is telling your parents you're gay. So it's a funny joke. I get it, but so like that was my frame of reference, was literally being made fun of all the time. But like I said, I don't like show up to a skate park instantly, just like the amount of fights I got in for nothing, just because I show up and somebody wants to say some shit. It's like it's stupid. Like it's hard to explain to anyone that wasn't there. You know what I mean? But it was very real. It was like literal, like they hated us. Like the moment they saw us, it was like. It was insane. But like I said, with that as a frame of reference, my friends were like, well, what if someone sees us skating? Like, they're going to make fun of us. I was like, who cares? Let's just skate. Like, it's not that problem, And would muster up smaller groups every now and again, but couldn't do anything consistent. And then I saw this random Facebook post about the group in LA that I just went to last night. Mm-hmm. And they were like, yeah, this group's been meeting, for 5 years. I was like, dude, 4 or 5 years. I was like, dude, if they're meeting every week for 4 or 5 years, that's what I wanted to do. That was the thing I wanted to do.
Got you. It showed you that it could be done.
Yeah, and so, but also I was like, rather than reinvent the wheel, let me just attach myself to this then. Yeah. And promote this, because she's already doing all of the work. And shout out Jenny. It was her birthday yesterday too. So Jenny's my inspiration for all of this. And she, so I just plugged in with her. I started showing up to her thing. They could tell I was different because they were, regular rollerbladers. I was an aggressive skater. So my setups looked different than theirs. They were like, what the hell is it? I'm looking at theirs like, what the hell? Yeah. But then, we all clicked pretty quick. And I, at that time was still in corporate sales. So I was just doing what I would normally do anyway. And like I said, just presented the opportunity to as many people as I thought would be interested, as I could. All the Facebook groups at that time, Instagram really hadn't taken off yet. So it was mainly Facebook stuff, or Instagram was just taking off. And so, I just was like putting stuff out, putting out videos, telling people, hey, show up, hey, blah, blah, blah. And grew that one. So right before COVID, we'd grown. So we would only be like 5 people. If we hit 10 people, we were like, oh, shit, we got 10 people. You know what I mean? Yeah. Oh, shit. And then, pre-COVID, we were like, because we'd been putting out a lot of videos. I had a buddy named Rich. I put out one video, he saw it, and he's like a really good videographer. Okay. And so he came out, he started doing his thing. His videos were like really good. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think it just piqued a lot of people's interest. And then like with COVID timing and everything, just all like everything's kind of happened. Like you couldn't write it. You know what I mean?
It's like just lined
up.
Yeah,
it just like everything fell into place. And so that was that was. And then that's how we ended up over here. So,
gotcha. How do you pick the locations? Because I know you guys go to different locations, right?
That's just experimenting. We used to always do San Bernardino, and then once a month we would go somewhere else. We switched that up to, especially as it it's gotten better now, but it was getting pretty gnarly in downtown. Mm-hmm. And so we switched it up to where the first week we skate in Fontana. And there's a trail there. So tomorrow we'll actually be skating the trail in Fontana. We meet at the library. Okay. There's this thing called the Pacific Electric Trail that runs from Rialto all the way to Claremont.
Oh, wow.
A nice flat trail, paved all the way. Really pretty. Okay. So we'll skate that. About 10 miles total, to the freeway and back from the library. It's 9.8 miles. Then we do San Bernardino at least twice a month. And then the third week of every month, we actually switch it up between downtown Riverside, Redlands, and now we have a pop-up roller rink that we do. We were able to work with one of the business owners. He has a nice open floor plan, and it's perfect for skating. Smaller joint, but it's like the vibe is cool. Like a lot of people are like, this is like basically feels like a warehouse party, but you're on skates. Nice. It's like a cool vibe.
Nice.
So I actually worked it to where I'll be doing that monthly with him, not as part of the IE Night Skate. We'll make it part of the IE Night Skate once every 3 months. But it'll be its own event monthly. So that'll be coming up again soon.
Dope. Is there a name for that pop-up?
I think it's just I haven't given it a name yet. Maybe I could pick a name right now. I don't know.
Go for it. Go for
I
it.
don't know what we call it. IE pop-up. I don't know what to call it.
There we go.
A Stardust. We could just like do something in relation to Stardust.
Why Stardust?
That was the old roller rink here in San Bernardino. So we could call it like something like Stardust. Man, I think we're doing something with Stardust. I'll probably do something along the lines of Stardust because I think that would be cool to pay some
homage.
Yeah.
George, what have you noticed, or have you noticed anything different by doing these night skates with people? Like, have you noticed, like, what has people's, like, response been to it since you've been doing these things?
People love it. I think, especially if you're a nocturnal person, you're like, if you're in your feelings, if you're bored and want to do something and it's late, like, your options are pretty limited. And if you don't want to get fucked up, your options are even more, like, less limited, limited, right? So,
got you.
So that's the one thing I realized with the skate is I think we tend to attract the same kind of person, which is like people who really feel like they don't have a place. Like,
those people who've been called those names, right?
Yeah, or like a lot of people come, they're like going through it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Okay. And so I think, it's one of those things where they're like this is different enough. Like, these people seem all right. Like, you show up, like, everybody's cool. There's no very, very little ego. Like, what are you going to do? Be the toughest person on rollerblades? Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh, yes, that's the toughest guy on skates right there.
That part.
So it's like, just like a lot of things, like putting skates on, I think it eliminates, it's a good filter, but on whether we realize it or not, right? Like, you think about the thoughts that go through your mind, even just being seen in public with skates, right? Like, like you have to be pretty, like, confident or comfortable in your own skin just to put yourself out there in that. It's kind of a weird thing. When for me, it's totally normal. I've done it my whole life. But I think about somebody just a regular person who's never skated or skated when they were a kid.
Yeah.
And they're like, fuck, I want to do that. But then they think, oh, no, fuck, my mom's going to laugh at me. My mom's going to think I'm fucking so, or my brothers or whatever. Like, whatever it is, like, not somebody's going to be like, what the hell are you doing, fool? You're awesome. Like, you're literally rollerblading in downtown San Bernardino? Which is hilarious, So I think by the fact that people go through all that stuff mentally, and by the time they have their shoes on, they for sure, or they got their skates on, like they've already been through a bunch of mental processes that got them to that point where they're like, all right, I'm just gonna do it, And I think, like I said, I think it's not coincidental that there's a lot of people that are going through stuff like with relationships, or we've had people show up because somebody, like, their wife died. They were literally like, I just need to, like, not be home right now,
Gotcha, yeah.
And they came and found a community, you know what I mean, and found friends, all that stuff. And I think that's the other thing too, is it's really, really hard as an adult to make friends.
It gets harder, yeah.
It's hard as hell, like, if you don't have somewhere you're tapped into, So a lot of these people I never would have kicked it with ever. A lot of these people probably are afraid of me when if they were seeing me in any other context, right? You know what I mean?
They cross the street and shit.
Like, hell no. No. And so, the fact that it's there's no tie that binds any of the people that are my friends through rollerblading except the rollerblading, which I think is cool. I'm not gonna probably, it's very rare that I would hang out with anybody else without this as the catalyst.
Interesting.
So
that's, and I guess I have to ask this question. So it's like, what does rollerblading mean to you?
For me personally, it's 100% about mental health. It's the thing that stops me from going crazy. Like, if like I'm in a dark place or something, it's late at night, I'll just put my skates on. I'll skate like 34 miles, just try to burn a bunch of hours, because especially if I'm like not in a good place, like I'm not going to do anything productive with that time. You know what I mean? So, it's just like, I just use it as it's just a good kind of catch-all thing. Like, if I'm going through it, put on my blades, I'm not going through it anymore.
It helps heal.
Yeah.
It helps heal. And I'm certain that's what it's doing with the community and other people, right?
Well, no, usually I skip on myself. I'm not gonna lie.
No. I mean, I know that for you, but I mean, like when you guys have your night skates, right? And I'm pretty sure it's something.
But for me, like it's more like most of the time you'll catch me skating by myself. Like it's funny because I think people associate like, oh, like you have all these friends and blah blah blah. I'm like, if you actually kicked it with me like on a day-to-day basis, you'd be like, fool, are you okay? You're always by yourself. Except for the times you're here with these groups, you are always alone.
Like, how am I going to get work done?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like, I love my alone time. Like I love my alone time, man. I need it. Like, my social battery's like this big.
Fact.
You know what I mean? And it's like I need all that time to be able to do the events that I do. You know what I mean?
Low-key, it's kind of scary for the people who don't know how to, like, be by themselves.
Yeah.
Kind of gets a little concerning for people who don't know how to be by themselves.
Yeah, I agree. The codependent, like, kind of people. Yeah, I feel you on that. I've seen that a lot. And I'm like, I don't understand it, but I understand that they exist, but I just personally don't understand.
It's like, how do you get anything done? Like, if you're, but I like that it's basically like you're healing, you know, safe. It's your safe space and safe place.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
For the night skate stuff, is there an age limit for you guys?
No, so we're definitely like geared towards adults. So like a lot of people are like, oh, the kids. And I'm like, man, fuck them kids.
That part, fuck them kids.
You raise your own kids.
That part. Are you gonna come?
Yeah, there's roller rinks. Take your kids to the roller rink. Why you have them skating in downtown San Bernardino? Don't make no damn sense.
Right, that part.
So like, but like, this is what I always say is like, even with my daughters, my oldest is 14 now, and she just started coming to the skates around 12, 13.
Okay.
I definitely want to keep it. I think it's best that I do everything that I do is definitely geared towards adults. You know, we're definitely doing adult activities, smoking, drinking during the skates that I'm part of. So, I think there's better places for kids to be able to skate. Like if you want to have your kid go have a cool experience and you want to be there with them, like that's cool. But like I don't want to pretend like we're worried about. We're not thinking about the kids when we're doing
that part.
We're not. You know what I mean?
18 and older type of situation.
Yeah, 18 and older ideally. Like I said, we have people that are younger that show up. There's some 17-year-olds showing up. So these kids in high school, they're totally fine, totally able to keep up. You know what I mean? They also go to the roller rink a lot. So, but yeah, most of my stuff is definitely just 100% geared towards adult. What I always say is, Bob in accounting needs somewhere to skate too.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying?
That part.
Yeah, he needs somewhere to fucking skate. He needs friends to kick it with. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm worried about. I think if we focus it, I guess it leads me to another point, which is a lot of times, people see it and they're like, oh, it reminds me of being a kid and blah, 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 makes me feel like a kid again. I'm like, that's never been the case for me. So I've always, it's how I adult, you know what I mean? So there's no part of it that like makes you feel young again or anything like that. It's like, I do it because I would mentally go crazy if I didn't. Also I just enjoy it. As an adult, I enjoy skating around. It keeps me healthy. I'm not healthy. My lifestyle is not healthy, except for the fact that I rollerblade. You know what I mean? And so
serious cardio.
Yeah, it keeps me like I'm in shape on accident just because it's the thing I love to do. So that's why I do it. I don't there's not anything about like the fun comes as an afterthought, but for me it's more just it's not for the fun. It's
for the love.
Yeah, it's for exactly. It's just.
Do you guys help teach people how to skate?
Yeah, so I'm a certified instructor.
Okay.
I typically do it for free, super beginner level type of stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Don't really like teaching the advanced stuff. I'm more of like a just do it kind of person. Like, you just go out there and put them on, and
You said there's advanced stuff?
Oh yeah, there's a ton. So that's the main. Like I said, my shop specialized. So there's all these different types of skating. So not only aggressive, but then you got like urban skating like we do.
Okay.
You have night skating, which I think is its own brand of skating, to be honest.
Cool.
You have what we call slalom. So that'll be these cones. People set up these cones and they do all these intricate moves around. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You have wizard skating, which is very similar. It's kind of like, think of like
Harry Potter.
No, think of like flat ground BMX. You remember that?
Like freestyling?
Like BMX, where it's like all on the floor. They're just spinning the bike around. It's very, very much in that vein where like you're not doing a lot of jumping or grinding. Like you can, but typically wizard skating is more on the floor, like movements with your skates, like the inside and outside of the wheels.
Okay.
It requires specialized frames, which I sell at my shop. Then you have like racing, speed, distance, all these other things. They all require very specific types of things. So
Wow.
and again, that's why my shop is so specialized, is because what I thought was crazy was there's other shops that opened up and they all specialize in aggressive skating, I think, because that's what their passion is, just like me. And I was trying to refer them all this we call it big wheel skating, like regular, what everybody else calls regular rollerblading, aggressive, people call it big wheel skating.
Okay.
And so, because our wheels are like this big and there's,
Yeah.
And so the big wheel stuff, there wasn't anywhere to go that wasn't online, so everybody just buy stuff or whatever. And so I was trying to refer these guys that opened up was literally like before I opened my shop, I was like, I'm going to make sure these shops are successful. You know what I mean? So I was referring a ton of business, all my friends, letting everybody know about it. And they continually let me down. Like, I think because they weren't sold on the big wheel stuff, or it wasn't part of their passion. So, I refer people there, knew they were set up with certain vendors. People would go in and they would come back and tell me, oh, they have some stuff. And I'm like, what the hell? So I was like, you know what? I'm going to fill that gap. And that's where my shop is, I'm like, I brought in all the stuff that people didn't think was cool, but that I knew would sell.
Yeah.
And it sold. Like, these light up wheels were the perfect example.
Yeah, I was going to talk about that.
Yeah, so like there's a huge part of my initial success was these light up wheels, because other shops didn't want to touch them because to them it was like weird, this light up was gimmicky, blah blah blah, right? My mind as a businessman, right? Number one, I was out there in the streets, nobody had them, right? I'm organizing these night skates. I'm like, hey, people are going to see me with my light up wheels, and they're like, hey, that's a good idea. Not only, visibility, a bunch of reasons for night skating, fucking cool to have light up wheels, right?
Yeah, outside, yep.
And so I'm like, dope. And then the other thing I quickly realized was there was no skates being sold with the light up wheels on them. So
already with it?
Yeah, so if anybody, forget where they got their skates from. If anybody wanted light up wheels, they were going to need to buy them separately. And there was no stores or no nothing. I was like, shit, this is where it's at. I remember this one guy was like, hey, we got this opportunity to start a skate company. Blah. I was like, I don't want to start a skate company. There's plenty of skate companies. I was like, I want to focus on these light up wheels. He was like, oh, it's just a light up. I was like, nope, we got to focus on these. And that business relationship ended up falling out, but I still had that mentality. I was like, these wheels are where it's at. Yeah. So COVID hits, right? Open the shop. Order a bunch of those wheels. They're flying off the shelves, Get with the vendor because they're selling out. And I'm like, hey, when's your next shipment? They were like, in 2 months. And I was like, what the hell? And I looked at the inventories. I was like, they don't have enough inventory for 2 months.
That part.
So I was like, shit. And it's COVID, right? So I'm like, I was like, you know what? I literally that night bought every single light up wheel they had in inventory. I bought them all. I had the market so cornered at that point that the vendor had to contact me to get light up wheels for anything they needed at their place, and they'd pay retail to have me ship them back.
Oh, nice.
So it was like that's how low the inventory was, and like I said, none of this stuff has happened by accident. When I see my niche, I'm like, this is it. So I bought everything. I bought every single one, and I increased the price. The vendor called me and said, hey, we noticed your pricing is a bit off on blah blah blah, right? And I'm like, what do you mean, right? Yeah, to me, because in my mind, I'm used to vendors being annoyed if you underprice. Like, I get that you don't want to devalue their product. Like, it's bad for everybody. Yeah. And so I thought I'd put a price in low on accident. I was like, oh shit, what did I do? And I was like, my bad. Like, what did I do? Let me know. I'll fix it right now. I don't want to try. She was like, no, you're charging more than our MSRP on those light up wheels. I'm like, yeah. What's the problem? Yeah. And she was like, well, what if somebody sees them cheaper and they don't want to buy them from you? They go, so I'm like, well, fuck them. They can't get them nowhere else.
That part. I got them all.
I got them all. Where are they going to get them?
Yeah. They got to go to China or something.
Yeah. I was like, where are they going to get them? You know what I mean? And they were like, oh, and the girl was new too. So, I don't blame her, but I think she just wasn't familiar with, she obviously didn't know anything about business. Okay. She relatively new. I think she got put in her position, whatever. She still gives me headaches every once in a while.
Oh man.
Yeah, and it's frustrating. I'm like one of their biggest, I'm definitely one of their biggest customers. Yeah. On the wholesale side, and I feel like they're just mean to me. It's crazy.
It's like let me speak to your boss.
Yeah, dude. And I know her boss. Like, I know the owners of the company, and so, and I don't want to do that to her, but I'm also like, dude, I'm like, bro, like it's been a while. Like, I still don't have terms with them. I spend probably $60,000-$70,000 a year with them. Okay. They don't ship my stuff until I pay them, which to me is annoying. Like, I have other vendors, that do that all day. So there's a little thing like, but I'll take care of that some other day. But
Yeah, you should definitely talk to the boss about that.
That's just me complaining. Right?
No. No, bro, it's a valid complaint.
Yeah.
Because I was talking to Carl Dameron, who's a PR guy, and he was saying that the reason why bad business is happening is because management doesn't know that the person underneath them is creating that bad business. Mm-hmm. And until you address the head person, then they'll be able to fix what needs to be fixed.
So that's what happened. Like even just the fact that they make me pay up front, like it becomes a problem because like yesterday I wanted to deliver something to someone. I placed the order over the weekend. They didn't ship it out. They waited for me basically to pay the invoice. I got caught up with the delivery, all this other stuff, and wasn't able to pay the invoice until 3:30. And so that put me into delivery to today. So I got the boxes waiting for me today.
Got you.
Would have loved to have them yesterday. And if they would even not even net 30, just put me on like net 2 days, right? Give me 2 days to pay you.
That part.
Right? Just ship it out and give me like a day, even 24 hours. Just ship it out. Come on, trust me. Just
we don't have the
It's like, yeah. So yeah, it's like I paid you significant money. You know what I mean?
So yeah, I think you should definitely talk to them, man. Cause if they lose your business, that's their fault.
Well, and that's the thing. So they don't know this because I don't like to create friction. So like,
of course.
Once I felt annoyed, I was like, well, I'm just gonna go to another vendor. So there's a certain price point now where I only work with a different vendor, specifically because I want to like diversify. Like I don't want to have all my eggs in one basket because I realize like a personal issue can apparently get in the way of my money, which I don't. I don't like that.
No, don't mess with my money.
Yeah, don't mess with my money.
Don't mess with my money.
Yeah, so I don't work with that particular vendor on anything under $200 anymore.
Okay.
I strictly isolate them to like the higher end stuff, and so like the lower end, not lower end, but like the entry level stuff, I work with another company called Micro now, who's a really good company too. So, and again, that's 100% only because of like the friction I feel like from their distribution here in America, and it's just in America. Like they're a company based in France.
Okay.
So it's just their American distribution. Like I don't know if they just don't understand like American business, like or what it is, but I literally feel like I'm working with. I feel like I have to. Yeah, like I feel like they almost don't like. They're mad that I'm selling so much. If that.
Okay, interesting.
Which is a weird thing. It's like a weird. Like actually, my vendor shouldn't make me feel that way. You know?
What does the American think he do?
Yeah.
That's my best French. That's my best French impression I can do right now. That's the best I can do. Wow. So are the glow in the dark wheels your biggest seller?
No, that's kind of settled down. So most people already have their set, whatever. They're still pretty consistent. But now my main thing now is the high end stuff. There's a company called Endless Blading. They make frames, so like the thing the wheels are mounted to.
Yeah.
And they make a high end one. It costs as much as it costs more than the entry level skates. It's like $200 something bucks just for the frame. And the beautiful thing about those is people need to buy the wheels and bearings too. So it becomes like this whole package deal. I'm making like $300-400 off each one, and so that's been my main thing right now, are just the higher end things. So carbon boots have been really popular. And one of the benefits of rollerblading is, versus all these other sports, like if you spend $1,000, you have to try to spend $1,000 in rollerblading. You have to like pick the highest end stuff.
Really
you know
do,
what I mean?
Yeah.
Every other sport you can do it on accident. A lot of times $1,000 doesn't even get you anywhere. Like biking, for example.
I was gonna say like a bike, for sure.
Motorsports, we get nowhere with $1,000. You know what I mean? So I think our sport, to anybody who's done any other sport in the past, is like, oh, this is very approachable. Like, you know what I mean? And so I'm really tapping into the people that don't have a problem with spending $1,000. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that helps. Every time, if I made $1,000 a day, I'd be chilling.
It'd be all right.
I'd be all right.
That's $30K a month. That's what we talking about.
That's what I'm at. So that's
it's tricky because some people make $30K a day.
Dude. That's goals.
I know, right? Shit. We gonna be there soon.
Yeah.
I'll see you there, George. I wanted to ask, like, I'm sorry, did you finish your thought?
No. Yeah.
Because I'm not sure if I saw it, but is inline blading like part of X Games?
No.
It's not, huh?
It's not. Yeah,
what's up? Do you know what's up with that?
Yeah, it was there's a lot to it. I won't it'd probably take up too much time, but the short end of it is rollerblading actually was pretty much how the X Games started, right? So it's like you do the research, you look it in, it was right. The whole blade hate thing started, right? Gay, blah blah blah, all that stuff, and it was like direct. It was a literal, like intentional assault on what one sport thought was a threat to their sport, right? So like the jokes and everything, it wasn't like just happened. It was like, no, we need to, like they're taking away from our market share. People are doing this instead of skateboarding. We're gonna show them. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And we were younger. We were a bunch of kids. The oldest people are around my age in our sport, right? Okay. So we're just becoming like productive adults with skills that we can apply to this. At the time, we're all kids. You know, it was the late 90s, like 18, early 20s at the oldest, and just literal grown ass men now, just messing with us. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think that all led to, number one, just the decline in popularity of rollerblading. A lot of people just couldn't take being called names all the time. And then it led to them basically kicking us out of the X Games. There was like a whole political thing that happened. There's a video on it. I forget the name of it. It's escaping me right now. But there's a whole video that kind of talks about like the literal assault of like that came down from them to basically just kind of kick us out. But like, you know, it is what it is. I ain't worried about it. I got a ton of friends who are skateboarders. It wasn't like a, you know, it was more the industry people that were kind of behind all that. But that was it. It was just, they were just like, hey, I think there were skaters there when it happened. They were like, oh yeah, you guys aren't. They're like, what the hell? Isn't it? You know, so.
Gnarly. But. Well, X Games, I think we're past that. Maybe we can bring rollerblades back into the game, maybe. You know, if trans women can, okay. But, you know, yeah, let's break that wall down and add rollerblades to it, man.
Yeah. I think in Japan, or I think it's China or Japan, I forget. I think it's China. I don't know, one of those two countries, they have an X Games, and rollerblading is a big part of it. Big part of it, yeah. Okay. And Europe has some rollerblade events that are really popular. There's also probably the most like credible event is here in Santa Ana, actually. It's called Blading Cup. Okay. So that's the one that if you are a blader, like that's the one, like it's the bladers type of blader goes there. You know what I mean? Like
okay. What happens there?
It's a competition. So it's twice a month, or twice a year in Santa Ana. It used to be every year. And then, I hope to kind of recreate something like that. I don't want to rip off exactly what he did, obviously, but come up with something similar, because that event just turns on that downtown area. Oh, wow. They got a food court there. We packed that food court. All the people love, like, this. That's why the city opted to do it twice. They actually approached him, from what I understand, and said, hey, can you do it twice a year? You know what I mean? Yeah, because it literally, it brings so many people downtown, So I would love to figure out how to get everybody on board to do something similar sized, Okay. Where, where we could get a bunch of people down here to, just to hang out for a day in the name of rollerblading, or for a weekend in the name of rollerblading. Dope. And
so they do vert and street type of situation?
It's not primarily just street. Okay. They'll have like a mini ramp sometimes. They switch that up, but it's usually like the street course is usually the consistent thing. Okay. And then it's like a trade show and all that. It's not usually worth it for me to go, I found out, because as a retailer, it's tough because all the people that I buy my product from are there. Already with cooler stuff than I can, like all the stuff that I'm not allowed to have because I don't know about it yet. They got it all there. So I'm just like, and they're giving it for free. I'm like, okay, what the hell? Like, damn. I just paid $500, $1,000 to move a bunch of stuff for a few days. Really, it just didn't make no money.
Got you. The numbers didn't add up.
Yeah, it didn't work out. Yep. I'm a numbers guy.
Got you. Now, but if you went there for fun, it'd be a different story.
Exactly. That's what I do now. I just go after I close a shop, catch the end of it. Because it's just not worth it for me to set up at a lot of these events, Okay. And
you mentioned that you also are part of a pop-up rink, right?
Yep. I just started organizing that. That's super official now.
Because when I think of rollerblades, I think of like the old school stuff with the 4 wheels, with the not the inland, but what do they call the other ones?
Just roller skates.
The roller skates. Yeah. Where people used to be dancing to the music. Do you guys do stuff like that? Do you dance on the wheels? Have some choreography?
So not really. I have a setup like that, but it just don't feel natural to me.
Got you.
Like some people, I see them, they're just like, I'm like, damn, this is clean. But right? I'm like, it's not me though. Unfortunately, like I'm just. you know, my type of skating, like the thing that I enjoyed about aggressive is just like going. It's hard, you know.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
aggressive skating, they knew me as like a fool who just skate fast and just huck himself, like, you know. And so like subtle movements, like cute movements, to me, it's like I'm not. I just don't. I don't know. I wish I cared because I see the girls how they look at some of these guys that are dancing like, oh, I'm like, why not me? Oh,
Look at me. You know what you should do? You should get a GoPro when you start going out skating. Then they'll be like, oh, that's what he's doing.
Oh no, I have one. It's just hard to record and stuff. It's such a pain in the butt to like. That's what sucks. Is like I wish I did more content. I do every time I do any videos, anything, it literally translates to money. Like all the time. Like,
Okay.
If I make a video, I sell that product in the next coming days, like a bunch. You know.
Okay.
But it's just so hard to consistently make content. It's just
Yeah.
like such a, you know, it's just so much work, you know, exporting, editing, all that stuff. So, but I got to do it. That's going to be my next. Now that I'm comfortable with all the stuff in the background that I was telling you about, I'm like, I really need to buckle down and just every day just blast something out and make another video. Like I have enough products in the shop. I have enough stuff to talk about. Like I know I can provide content that actually is useful versus just like doing like, hey guys, we're gonna let us skate on fire, and you know, like I'm not trying to clickbait anybody. Like I really want to produce content that's gonna like provide value to people, like give some insight on a product. You know what I mean? Let people look at stuff, all that kind of stuff. So that's next on my list. So you'll see a lot more stuff coming out in that regard.
And you know, George, sometimes it's a lot easier than what you think it is.
It is.
Yeah, like you might be, because creative people and people who are like really driven, they want to like do like the best thing all the time. And sometimes it could just be simple as like new product in, click, or like I said, like a GoPro, put it on, and just not even edit it, just throw it on YouTube type of thing.
That's what I've been trying to do more,
You
is
know what I
like don't be paralyzed by perfection kind of deal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But main thing for me is just allotting the time and just doing it, and just no distractions. Get a lot of distractions in the shop.
Okay.
A lot of them, you know. So between like homeless people walking in, between customers walking in, you know, so just it's easy to get distracted.
Got you.
know?
And getting the, like finding the right time and right moment to like, okay,
and,
no matter who walks in this damn door, I'm going to finish this.
Like, I'm going to lock it. And just, like,
That part,
focus,
right?
You know?
You have to have an appointment and I'll make sure.
Yeah, right.
So for the pop-up rink, it's kind of just like they play music and people are just skating around?
Just play music, skate in a circle, just hang out. It's totally good vibe. So I think what we're going to do this month is make it so that it's 2 events going on separately. So we're going to advertise the roller rink. We're going to have somebody do a concert.
Okay, wow.
On the floor below. And then we're not going to, because I think if we're like, oh, it's a concert with a skating rink, people are like, what the hell, I don't want to go. And if we're like, oh, it's a skating rink with a concert, people are like, well, I don't want to. So I think we're just like, oh, skating rink for the people who want a skating rink, concert for the people who want a concert. If you walk upstairs to go get a drink, you're going to see a damn skating rink. And you'll be like, what the hell? You know, and if you skating, you're going to hear some bands. And what the hell? You know, so I feel like it'll happen on accident.
Got you.
You know, so.
It'll be there.
Yeah, it just happened. So figure we just bill them as 2 separate events.
Can people rent skates at those?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what I did, so the first 2 rinks that we did, the guy donated the space to us.
Awesome.
And so I was really grateful for it. So I
Want to give a
recognize
shout out to him?
Yeah, Jose. So if, I don't know if you've had Jose on, but he owns a lot of the properties in downtown. He's restoring the building right next to the old Carlos O'Brien.
Okay.
So he's restored that. That's where we have it, is in that building. He's doing a lot of good work. He just hit me up. I owe him money for like, my bad, man. My bad. My bad. Don't send your goons, man. I'm sending it right now. But so I used the money from those first 2 to actually buy a fleet of rental skates. So I worked with this Long Beach company, skater owned and all that, and bought as much as I could from her, trying to keep it all in the ecosystem, you know. Mm-hmm. And still got to buy some more. I'll probably end up buying those from a different company, but. We got a good amount now. So, but I want to keep, as I have these events, I figured just buy a few more sets every time. Like if I'm missing some sizes, just go grab them from the shop, bring them in, turn those into rentals. You know what I mean? So, just going to keep doing that until we got, you know, as many as we need.
Got you. So. What it cost to like, the average cost to like rentals and to do the rink? What would you say like the average cost?
Average cost to show up or for me to do it?
For people who want to show up.
Oh, show up?
Yeah, for people who want to rent
we're doing like 10 to $20. I'll probably lower it this time around. I don't know. I was doing $20 to get in, and then $10 for rentals. I think I'm going to probably drop it to probably $20 period for the ticket, rentals included if you need them.
Okay, cool.
You know, So yeah, do something like that, or I don't know. I have to figure it out, but it'll be around $20, $20 to come in and skate.
Gotcha.
You
Get
know
the
what I mean?
numbers right.
Yeah, exactly. So
Gotcha. And what's like how long will it last? The skate rink will be.
they start about 8:30 normally. They go till like midnight. They tend
Okay.
to slow down about midnight, 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock at the latest. You know?
Cool. And what about the night skates? What's like the times that usually do the
8:30 to 10. So we meet up at 7 at the shop. So if we're doing it in San Bernardino, we'll meet up at 7. Everybody hangs out in the shop, works on their skates, chit chats, drinks sodas, beers, whatever, you know. Mm-hmm. And then we head out at 8:30. We roll out and we skate until 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dope. It sounds super fun. Like people don't be afraid to try it out,
Yeah,
even if you've never. He gives skate lessons, so if you want to try to skate and learn. I remember back in the day, like the T was the stop for me. Do the
T stop. Yeah.
Yeah, the T stop was the thing for me. I wanted to congratulate you on the ARPA grant that you received.
Thank you.
Man, congratulations for that. And that was the one that the councilman helped you guide you to get?
Well, I forgot how I heard about it. I think I heard about it through, I forget exactly how. I think it's several people. I think it was like there was grumblings just in the community of this. They were like, "There's these grants coming down. You better be on it." Blah blah blah. You know what I mean? Okay. And so I was like, how much? Okay, I'm on it. And then they had a workshop. I actually met just before he passed the owner of Wampoyo. He was there.
Oh,
so
Alberto Cura.
Yeah. Shout out him too, man. Did so much good work in San Bernardino.
Man,
you know what I mean?
He's a great man.
Yeah, like all the stuff that exists just because that the McDonald's museum wouldn't exist right here if he didn't just decide to make it exist, right? So
yeah, he was on here too, and he talked about. Actually, we had the last interview with him. Actually,
oh no way.
Yeah, and I remember he talked about the Burger King mascot, and he was like, "Looks like a child molester." Alberto Q, we love you, man. That's good, man.
Dope. Yeah, it was funny. They were giving him a hard time because they were making it clear. They're like, you only get one grant per owner. He was like, per business, per owner. He's like, so if you have a museum and a restaurant, you only get one grant. He was just like,
No, he was a great man. He was a good guy.
Yeah, he was a good dude, man. I gave him his respect. I'm happy I did too, because I didn't realize he was going to pass shortly after. So
yeah, it happened so quick.
So quick.
Yeah, you just never know what people are going through or what's happening in people's lives.
No.
I was looking on the website and I saw this. Is it pronounced Seba or
Yeah.
Seba? Seba. I saw these Seba 3-wheel skates, and I'm like, I've never seen rollerblades with 3 wheels.
Right.
Is that something that you created? Is something new? Like what's?
Yeah, no, it's pretty older. It's older technology, I would say, at this point. But they basically designed those skates to. So 3-wheel skates are always going to be lighter and faster.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So
if you want the speed, that's what you go for.
exactly.
Okay.
And some people do 4 wheels that are just as big. Some people even 5, depending on what your goals are. But the bigger the wheel, that's what I always tell people, is the closer the wheel gets to like the size of a bike wheel, the more it starts to act like a bike wheel. So you're able to run stuff over easier. You're able to run over cracks, sticks, small children, just in case.
Got you.
You can just, oops, sorry.
Got you. So those are perfect. So the bigger wheels are perfect for like the urban type of.
Yeah, they're good. So where the 4 wheels come in handy is more for agility. So you definitely feel way more maneuverable when you have 4 wheels on versus 3. Just a lot more going on there as far as maneuverability is concerned. So
does that apply for 5 wheels too, or no?
It depends. So 5-wheel skates, typically when people do 5-wheel skates, they're doing it because they want them to be long and act almost like a ski, so that they aren't maneuverable. Oh wow! However, wizard skating's the exception to that, where they design 5-wheel frames and what we call like a V rocker. So you think it basically has an extreme, like the wheel in the middle is lower than the rest of the wheels. Oh, interesting. So that you can have maneuverability while still having the long wheelbase for whatever reason, Whoa. And again, that's why you come to a shop like mine, is so that you're like, wait, what's all this difference? I'm trying to be confused. And I'll just pull it out like this,
And kind of like explain it all.
Yeah, just show them. I remember at first I was kind of blown away by the success, and I'm like, why is this working? And then I remember somebody came in and they were asking me just a bunch of what I thought were regular questions, And they were like, dude, thank you so much. And I was like, what? They were like, I would have watched like hours of videos trying to get the same information. I'm like, oh shit, that's true. Like, like, going down a rabbit hole and being like, well, what's this question? What's that? And like trying to get to all the right information.
Yeah.
I was like, and then I was like just showing them the product. Oh, do you do this, and this is this for this is for this. They were like, oh. And I was like, you know what? There is like for me, skating's just my life.
Yeah.
But the fact that I've been doing it for 30 years means I know stuff.
That
which
part.
I didn't realize is of value. You know what I mean?
It's
just
crazy
like,
what's valuable.
Yeah, just like an accountant, just like anybody else. Like the information, your life experiences, all that stuff is valuable if you're put in the right setting. You know what I mean? And I put myself in the right setting, apparently.
Which is great. Yeah. Just things falling into the right row, right?
Yeah, and I think people can recognize my path. I think that honestly is my secret sauce at the end of the day, is that it truly is my passion. Like there's no faking it. It wasn't a fucking COVID thing for me. I'm not one of those. I'm fucking like, I love skating just because I love skating, and that's it. There was no profit motive before. I was just out there in the streets, just to be out there in the streets. Like, even now, that's not a profit motive. It's just a motive of like, I want this to exist in perpetuity. In order for that to happen, it has to be profitable.
Yeah, period.
So, you know what I mean? So, I don't give a shit about the money. I really don't. Like the reason I started it was because I'm willing to go broke doing it, not because like I'm not gonna get in open a rollerblade shop thinking I'm gonna get rich. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm just hoping I don't go broke.
No, that part. Well, you're a numbers guy, so we're not gonna allow that to happen, right? You wouldn't even allow that to happen.
Yeah.
Oh jeez, totally just lost. I had it and I just fumbled the bag right out of my head. It'll come back. Oh. I think another good thing why the brand is so successful is because you filled needs and niches that weren't being met. For example, the roller, the wheels, the glow in the dark wheels, right? Mm-hmm. And also I think you mentioned before, like all the other skate shops were focusing on aggressive skating, and you're like, well, I'm not just going to focus on that alone.
Yeah.
So
all the brands, and I do them all too. So that's the thing, is a lot of the aggressive guys, they can't talk intelligently about the big wheel stuff because they don't do it.
Got you.
You know what I mean? And if they do it within the frame of reference of an aggressive skater, which isn't the same thing as like a regular big wheel skater coming from the wild. So and I said I honestly do feel still that there is like a stigma on the big wheel skating. Kind of, it's going away now. But coming from the aggressive community, I know personally, like, a lot of people get self-conscious about it. They really do think they look silly, or like it's just, so.
So it's layered. So basically, rollerblading has a stigma, and then big wheel rollerblading has an even bigger stigma.
We used to always laugh because, like, one of the running jokes in the aggressive community, my buddy would say this. My buddy Marcus, he's like, we got rollerbladers making fun of rollerbladers for rollerblading.
That part.
I was like, that's the best quote ever. And that's really what it is. Like, other fools would be like, oh, this was roller. You got big wheels. You look like a dork,
That part.
And so I'm just like, whatever. Like, I'm laughing all the way to the bank.
Hey, that part. Hey. Oh, man. That line reminds me of someone that I used to know. He used to say, man, I'm bacon with Kevin Bacon. Yeah, that's the way. I think we all want to laugh our way to the bank. That's I know for sure Kevin Hart's doing it, man. Shout it out, bro. Not only do you sell skates, but you sell clothing and accessories, right?
Yeah.
Which is also pretty cool. But I saw this thing called, like, what was it? Toe plugs? What the hell is a toe plug, bro?
Oh, yeah, probably a jam plug. Like, those are for roller skates, quads. So they'll put, a lot of dancers, they don't want the brake there because it gets in their way of their movements.
Okay.
So they'll put like a jam plug in there. We call it. You screw that in, and it protects a lot of places won't let you in if you don't have something there because they're afraid you're going to scratch the floor or whatever. So you put a jam plug in there, and it'll protect your plate from grinding on the floor while you're doing anything, and also protect the floor from your plate. So
gotcha. Yeah. Here I'm thinking like it's protecting people's toes from getting hurt from putting it inside their shoe. Has nothing to do with that. Okay. I'm like, oh man, I didn't know it was that serious. Like, do you want to give a shout out to some of the stuff that you sell besides the clothing and stuff like that? Like some of the things you like to sell?
Yeah, well, I'll say $200. So one of the big things I do out of the shop are custom roller skates. So if you bring a pair of shoes, ideally a new pair of shoes. Some people bring you some nasty shoes.
Okay.
It so blows my mind. I'm like, why? Yeah, well, my hands are going to touch this, right?
Like, why are you bringing your warehouse shoes here, bro?
Like, what's going on? And so, so ideally newer shoes, newer the better. Vans, that type are ideals. Flat sole, you know. So you can call me if you want to having a hard time picking the shoe. But you bring your shoe, $200, and you can skate out. So
Cool. In
that's
the
what I-
same shoes.
in the same shoes, yeah.
Dope.
So that's what I tell people is that's one of my big things out of there is those custom roller skates, and it makes it easy too because trying to account for everybody's taste, everybody's style, everybody's foot shape, and all that stuff it'd be impossible for me to stock all the roller skates. The rollerblades are a little bit easier. Roller skates, it's just hard to do, you know, just so many different variables. So doing the customs allows me to kind of avoid all the headaches of guessing what somebody's. I would literally just have to guess what people are going to want, you know.
Yeah.
If I was to bring in roller skates, this allows me to just be like, bring in a shoe. You're going to leave with something that fits and that you like the look of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Boom, $200, which is cheaper than most roller skates.
Period.
So,
Would you recommend high tops or low tops?
I think it's up to the person.
Okay.
Both of them work. People come in with Stacey Adams.
No
people,
way.
Yeah, people come in with Vans.
No way. Stacey Adams?
Yeah, the Stacey Adams usually cost more to put together because people tend to want the very specialized, like low ride plate, they call it.
Okay.
And what we call fiberglass wheels. So the wheels and the plate alone and bearings probably going to set you back like $400 something bucks.
Okay.
And then you got to pay me to mount them. So, but like I said, most people come in with Vans and things like that. But I've done some docks before. I had one lady, she wanted me to do hills.
She's tripping.
But I was like, I could have done it, but like it was one of those things where she was like, I want you to do it, and I wanted to be cheap, and I'm like, you gotta have one or the other.
Come on, man.
You know what I mean? Like,
How badly do you want it?
Yeah, how bad do you want it? So,
That seems kind of uncomfortable, though. Wouldn't it be uncomfortable?
yeah, but they've done. I've seen them do it, and I was like, I want to learn just to know. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I was just like, never mind. So,
She didn't come with the right one.
Yeah.
She didn't come correct.
yeah, she was just like, yeah, just enough trouble where I was like, never mind. You know?
Yeah. We're gonna move from that.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I thought was kind of cool, and I didn't even really know it existed, and until I was like going through your stuff, is that there's a rollerblading, roller skating community.
Yeah,
You
the
know?
roller skating community is huge, and I love the roller skating community because it's like so feminine, like dominated by like a lot of females and feminine energy, which I love. You know, coming from aggressive skating, you know, it was always hard to balance like I don't consider myself like super macho and like all like I don't like want to kick it with my bros and do all that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
aggressive skating is all dudes about my age for the most part. It was. Now there's a lot more diversity, but at that time it was guys my age.
Yeah.
That was it, you know. So like seeing a community around skating and having girls there and all that stuff and just being able to hang out, like it's a cool vibe. I really like the roller skating community. And even the inline community now, I always say that one of the things I hate is that I'm just trying to skate with these people, and then they end up becoming my freaking friends. Then I care about them and all that shit.
Got you.
I hate it.
It's like, fuck, I just wanted to skate.
Yeah, I was trying to skate. Now I got all these damn friends.
Damn it.
You know?
I want to be by myself.
Exactly.
Now I care about people.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the hard part is seeing all the things happen. A lot of friends had a friend recently pass from cancer. Other people getting cancer, and people getting sick, people getting injured. It just hurts every time, and it all hurts. Just life happens, but it just you make more friends, more people, more of that stuff starts to happen.
Yeah, that's one thing you can't avoid.
Yeah.
But I think good friends are something that you just can't buy.
I agree.
You know what I mean? And it's always good to have it. I have this belief where it's like, you can't pat your own back, and you can't massage your own back, and you can't give yourself a hug. You need someone else to do that for you.
Oh, that's dope.
Right? George, what current projects are you working on? Whether it's with the skate, whether it's in life, what current projects are you working on, man?
Right now, I just finished, and I'm very proud of getting my financing in order because I was doing a lot of PayPal loans kind of stuff,
Okay.
which are dope because you can get them easily. They also suck because they were taking all my profit. You know what I mean? I'm paying like $600 a week to that loan.
Okay.
So now that that's taken care of, I can get all of that liquidity back, and start doing stuff with it, you know, that isn't paying the loan. So it'll feel good to have that extra money in to play with every month. And again, like I said, in the background, to know that if I have any idea, one of the things that I am kicking around right now is possibly getting like a van that's preloaded with a lot of products so that I can just show up to an event and, you know, like an ice cream truck kind of thing. So that's in the early stages. That's more just a concept at this point. But the beautiful thing is I know that I can qualify for the financing if I present them with the idea and it makes sense, you know, because it'll be collateralized. Right now I just have a line of credit that they literally just gave me a line of credit. Here you go. I'm like, what the fuck is it, dope? You know? So the more collateralized, more complex funding, I still have access to that too.
Okay.
So I'm excited about that. Also, maybe buying a house soon. I think I might be moving to Crestline or something like that.
Okay.
So that's, again, in early stages. So I'm going to try to, you know, clicked in my head. I was like, wait, I got all my stuff in order again? Like, I can go buy a house if I need to buy a house.
That part.
So I'm going to check in on that, get all the details on that. But right now, my main thing is I'm bringing in higher end inventory. So I just brought in these higher end skates, a full size run, so that people can come in, try them on, and leave with them if they want to.
Okay.
Versus a lot of the high end stuff, I tend to just have to size them up and then ship it to them and cross my fingers it's the right size, you know. So I would love to. I'm trying to focus on one by one, not all at the same time. Like trying to focus that like at a correct pace, trying to bring in at an appropriate pace, bring in all these high end things in full size runs, so that people know they can drive. Like if you know, because if you're spending $1,000 on a pair of skates, you want to put it on.
Yeah.
And so
definitely.
I want to set myself up to be able to take advantage of those hits, because I have it happen not frequently, but every once in a while where somebody walks in, they think that something on my site was going to be in the shop. And they're like, oh, I wanted to try on this, you know, $1,500 skate. And I'm like, oh, I can order it for you, have it here in 2 days. And then they're like, oh, I'm leaving to Europe today. I was going to, you know, I'm just like,
Yeah.
So I would like to have the higher end stuff in the shop just so that, yeah, people can walk out with it. You know what I mean? So
Always have it there for them. And you guys deliver?
yeah, free delivery over $20. I only had to do that because people would buy one screw.
The
And
fuck?
then they'd be like, all right, where's my screw? I'm like, Dick.
It's like, what?
I'm like, number one, I'm not making money. I lost money shipping this. It cost me $3 to ship your $2 screw.
That part.
You know? And so I was like, I had to raise it up. I was like, I thought people would just understand. Like, anyway.
No.
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 You have to I'm starting to learn. You got to be explicit.
That part. Yeah, be clear.
Yeah, all sales are final. I had to do that too. Because somebody, like, people don't understand. They're like, I'm always willing to help people if you get the wrong size or stuff. Like, you know, you're not gonna be left holding the bag or whatever, right? But people would literally buy, you know, $600 pair of skates, walk out, whatever. I reorder it because I need to fill my inventory. They come back 2 days later. Never mind. Here you go. Just decided I don't want to skate no more. It's like now I got double the inventory and I just lost. You know what I mean? It's like So all sales are final, but doesn't mean I'm not willing to work with people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And in the future, I might change that, you know, depending on how things go. But right now, no, you know.
Yeah, you just have to be explicit, you know, just like people are saying, you know, I think it says like, don't go in the bathtub with toaster or something like that. Or, you know, on the toaster.
Yeah,
like
don't drink the bleach.
That part, you know, keep out of reach of children, you know, this plastic bag will choke the kid.
Yeah. That's it. Oh, and the other thing is trying to, and this is a passion thing that I would love for them to designate, if not just for one day, maybe Sundays, the gazebo in Secombe Lake.
Who is them?
The Parks and Rec, maybe Parks and Rec, City Council, whoever is in charge of that kind of stuff, like where I can be like, look, can we make it so that Sundays, you know, between this time and that time, like it's akin to the Venice Beach area where they have that section that's their little jam spot where you can go. Like how dope would it be to have a lakefront gazebo that's designated as a roller skate spot, right? Like be a destination kind of deal, right?
Yeah.
So, and then the fact that there's a park all around, that means you could bring the family. If they don't skate, don't matter. They can do all the other stuff. But it would be cool to have that as like an official thing, or even if it's officially unofficial, but to have it be, you know, more as official as it can be, I think would be cool. And then I would be happy to show up with my rentals there, for example, you know what I mean? Pull up before I open up the shop or whatever, and you just hang out there, let people skate while they're chilling, you know what I mean? And then just head to the shop after or whatever. So I think it'd be cool, you know, it's like one of the things I'm big on is like I don't think if you don't intentionally like activate the parks and put things there for people to do,
Yeah.
they're gonna get filled up with whatever. Right?
Yeah.
And then you get mad at the homeless people. It's like, dude, the reason they're there is because they want to be where nobody is.
Basically.
And so nobody was there. That's why they got set up there, right? But if you're active about these things, you're intentional about, like turning on these parks. Like I think you can do a lot. You know what I mean?
Facts.
A lot of stuff happens on its own. Like just by the simple fact that there'll be people there now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's one thing I would like to do. I would also, if I know this is probably a taller order, but I would love it if we could figure out a way to coexist with buses in that bus lane, make it official. Because,
Have a bike lane next to the bus lane?
Like in the bus, like have it, like it's not, but the buses can see a biker, right? Like,
yeah.
And vice versa. Like, so I feel like that's easier to do than maybe people think it is. Like a few conference calls with the bus people and telling their drivers, hey, be careful, there's going to be skaters in the bus lane. Like, you don't have free reign to run them over if you see them, right?
Okay.
You, like, stop, honk, or whatever. Like, just have them be mindful. Because right now, the way those bus drivers are, they feel like they're entitled to those lanes, which maybe they are, right? Technically, they are.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is people use them for other stuff because it is convenient to have a fucking lane that's blocked from cars and stuff in the middle of downtown. Like, that's cool, right? We utilize it all the time on the night skate. And the buses come, they literally try to hit us or try to get as close to hitting us as they can.
Really?
Yeah, they're dicks, dude. You know what I mean? And and I get it. Like I said, I'm not saying I don't get it. Like I understand, like in their mind, they are entitled to these lanes. So I would like to figure out what the steps would be to let them know you're not entitled to these lanes. A group of 30 people skating is just as important as 10 people on a bus, right? Like if the goal is to move people in those lanes, we're moving people in those lanes, right? So I would like to figure out how we can get a perspective change on that or talk to the correct person to make it so that these buses don't feel entitled to being able to run people over. You know what I mean?
Or at least like have a set amount of time when you can skate
something.
from there.
There's some sort of process, add a light to them or something. There's an easy fix to that.
Yeah.
That I don't think the solution is if they're in the lane, you're allowed to run them over, right? I don't think that's
a lawsuit anyway.
Yeah, it's not human, and it doesn't make sense, right? And that's the attitude of these people right now.
Okay.
And it's dangerous. Like eventually, an accident's gonna happen or something's gonna happen.
Big facts.
Just because they're trying to prove a point or whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we don't want that to happen.
We don't want it to happen. No. I'm intentional. We don't try to test the buses or nothing. We're not. We acknowledge we will lose that battle 100% of the time. I'm not trying to. I make sure my people see it every time they're coming. But despite our best efforts, it seems like they really do try to fucking hit us. It's crazy. And I'm like, come on, man. You're like, something's going to happen, and then you're going to feel real bad.
That part. And I think you're right. I think it is an easy fix.
I think so.
And I think for the Secombe Lake idea, I think it is Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
And I, talking to someone like Lady Gutfield, who's the director, I believe, I think it could be an easy fix, bro.
Yeah, I think that's possible. You know what I mean? I'll do the legwork of putting out the rentals and all that stuff. You know what I mean? Like I'm on board with it, not just talking the talk. Like,
Yeah, I think that's also an easy fix as well.
Yeah.
Because I think they're really on board with trying to better the community and the city. George, I want to thank you for being on The Empire, man.
No problem, man.
Let's say 100 years pass by, 250 years pass by. What would you like your empire to look like? Whether it's what you've done in skating, in life, in payroll, in being in LA, San Bernardino, in an empire. What would you like your empire to look like? Whether business, family, personal, etc.
You know what? When it comes to business, what I would like is complete freedom, even from the shop. So that's the goal I'm working towards, is be able to be skating in New York and the shop is still fine in San Bernardino. Be in Bali with my buddy at his, skate park resort, and shop is still fine. Profits are still coming in. You know what I mean? Doing all that, like just going around the world, kind of doing the exact same thing I did out here, but just promoting other people's skates, and just having the freedom to do that would be cool. Personally, I'd like to see, I would like to see my daughters just doing well in life. You know what I mean? I think that as a parent was really the only, I think personally, the only thing that I really care about is making sure that they they have all the tools and everything that they need to be productive people in society and all that, that they have their hearts in the right place. But that's pretty much it. I don't really necessarily need to leave a stamp. I don't really do any of this for any of the accolades or anything like that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Just want people to be skating. It's such a beneficial thing for me, and it keeps me so grounded. I just want that opportunity for everybody else. You know what I mean? For anybody else who is seeking this, the same kind of, not necessarily an escape or just maybe an escape or whatever it is, but just trying to switch off from whatever their regular life is and put some skates on and go skate around some of the roughest areas in Southern California. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that'd be cool. Be cool. Just to see this keep on keeping on. And I'm already excited that I've seen people kind of duplicate our model without realizing they're duplicating our model, which I'm stoked about, right? Like a lot of groups that popped up during COVID and stuff. Some have gone, but a lot of them have stayed. Shout out Alice Skate Honeys, Jen Yonda. She's doing really good work on the west side of LA. The homie Chris and Long Beach, he's doing great stuff too. Shimmer Moon Night Skate in Huntington Beach. We got a bunch of different places now that are going on. We got I Hate Mondays Night Skate, and that's in San Gabriel Valley. It's a homie Manny. So, just seeing all these different opportunities to skate throughout the week is pretty cool,
Yeah.
I already feel kind of satisfied with just having those around, to be honest.
Gotcha. And so a good empire that you would like to have is people enjoying skating and for it to perpetually keep on as much as you would love skating.
Yeah, I would love for it to be as regular as biking.
Okay.
Right, and I think we're getting there. It'd be cool to have, the demand so that we could have, just like we have a skate shop in nearly every city or a bike shop in every city, where we could have, rollerblade shop, or at least have it be part of the ecosystem. You know what I mean? And
Definitely.
I think we're getting there. So
yeah, and I think in my opinion, I think the night skate stuff and the street skate stuff, I think is really bringing skates back to people's eyes, because I feel like it disappeared for a while.
Oh yeah, like I said, the Blade Hate era.
Say it again.
The Blade Hate era. That's
It disappeared, and I feel like this is kind of it's like bringing it back to attention. Hey, we remember rollerblading, roller skating? We can do this outside now in public, and we have these glow in the dark wheels where you can skate at night with, and it's like, okay, let's. And I noticed now, like you say, we're in our 40s and stuff, and so it's like nostalgia, bringing these things back. It's like, okay, I remember that. I want to do that again.
Yeah.
Cool empire, non-selfish. I love it. Again, I want to thank you for being on The Empire, George. Can you please tell everybody how they can contact you, find you, if they want to support you, get some of your product, maybe even meet up for some of the night skate? Can you please tell everybody how they can do that?
Easiest way, if you got a ton of questions, just give me a call. My business phone is my cell phone, so it's 909-644-0104. It'll be me that answers. You can text me. Somebody must have already got it because they're calling me right now. But so that's the easiest way. Otherwise, you can DM me. Don't message me on IE Night Skate. I'm not really actively checking that one. That's just really informational reasons for the group skate. But if you go to my personal or the shop one is Night Skate SB. That's KNIGHT Skate SB. It's for San Bernardino. And you can message me there. You'll get me as well in the DMs. So those would be probably the best two ways. Or if email is your preferred thing, contact@nightskate.com. Again, Nightskate with a K. So
cool. Awesome. And I'll have everything, ladies and gentlemen, in the description. So that way you can always click on it. And that way you're able to reach out and support this man and get some stuff. And maybe even if you wanted to skate, you've been fantasizing about skating again, come check it out. Mm-hmm. And even if you're not located in the IE, there's other spots that you can probably ask him about and find out through him or through the page. They're all connected. It's
100%,
super cool.
Yeah. If you need any questions, I'm here for you.
Boom. And such a great person he is. I want to thank, of course, George Gonzalez for being on The Empire. And I want to thank all you guys for listening, watching, however you did it. We learned a lot today. We learned about, man, I didn't even know the X Games freaking did that to rollerblading, man. That's gnarly, But we learned about, the skating, like there's different levels of skating, there's wizard skating, which has nothing to do with Harry Potter. There's big wheel skating, there's hard skating, which is like grinding and stuff. And we learned a lot. We even learned about some history. Like this man was dealing some corporate sales. So, he knows his money, he knows his numbers. So yeah, folks, it's been a great episode and I hope you guys enjoyed it. We enjoyed ourselves here. My name is Antonio D. Miles. Please like the video, subscribe if you're not already, share. If you want to support, you can do CashApp, which is $THEE Empire Podcast. And other than that, we will catch you guys in the next one. All right? Peace.